Hello, and thank you for joining me for this brioche short rows tutorial. And I'm gonna show you here how I'm gonna work these short rows in circular projects especially for shaping the neck area. Now, if you have already instructions, set up rows, make sure to make them. This is just for the sake of you to understand the principle of the brioche short rows. So what I need is another set of gauge side needles. It can either be circular needles or DPNs. I'm going to work with DPNs. And it also depends which part you want to put on the DPNs, if it's going to be the shorter part of the round or the longer part of the round. Now I'm going to show with the shorter part of the round. So I'm going to work with the DPNs. Otherwise, I would work with a circular and put the stitches of hold on the DPNs. So I'm going to start with the light color. This is the right side. I'm going to start with the bark, brioche knit, and then slip one yarn over. And I continue with the bark, slip one yarn over. And actually I work these pair of stitches until the stitch I would like to wrap. Let's say that this is the stitch I would like to wrap. It will always be a bark stitch. It will always be a light color knitted stitch. And I remind the continental knitters to complete their yarn over, bring the yarn to the front. Okay, so don't forget, you bring the yarn to the front and then you wrap. So I take this stitch off the needle, wrap and place it back on the needle. And instead of the classical turn, I'm not gonna turn because it's brioche. I slide the stitches to the other side of the needle. Now, if you don't have another set of gauge side needles, you can put the other stitches for now on a smaller gauge needles because they're not gonna be worked. Actually, the circulars are just holding the stitches. And I pick up the second DPN. Careful not to work again with the circular because then you'll kind of have to slip the stitches back to work. So I take the other DPN. I need only 2 DPNs for this. And I start working the dark color. So it's a slip one and then bark, brioche purl, slip one, brioche purl. And actually I'm gonna work all the stitches that I have now on my DPN. So basically it's until the wrapped stitch. And I finish with a brioche purl. And yeah. And this dark color yarn should always be kept on the right side of work. Okay, so in this case it's in the front of the work. And now it's time to turn the project. And again, I'm working with another DPN or the second DPN. So I'm not working with these needles. And I'm gonna take this light color and I'm gonna stretch it, but not too much and not too little. So it has to be the right amount so that you're not interrupting this stitch right here. And then it's a slip one yarn over and brioche purl. We're in the wrong side, so the LCs worked brioche purl. Slip one yarn over, brioche purl, and I work until where I need to be working. Okay, and then again I'm gonna wrap this bark stitch instead of working it. So I bring the yarn to the front, I take it off the DPN, the left DPN, I wrap it and I put it back on the circular needle, which is the holder. Okay, I leave the yarn and I don't turn, I slide to the other side. And now I pick up the dark color and again I'm gonna start with a bark with a brioche knit and then a slip one yarn over, brioche knit, slip one yarn over until I finish all these stitches to the wrap, or it's one stitch before, and then brioche knit again. I leave the yarn in the back because this is the wrong side, so I need to leave it on the back, and then I can turn again. And I work again with LC yarn and the DPN. And the first stitch in this row, which is row 3, and that's the repeat also, is gonna be, the pattern repeat is gonna be a slip one yarn over and bark. Slip one yarn over and bark. Until the stitch I want to wrap, so in this case it's going to be 2 stitches before the other wrap, the last wrapped one, so it's going to be this stitch right here. So it's a slip one yarn over, bring the yarn to the front, and then I wrap. And in this case I want to put all these stitches back on the holder. So I'm gonna put the stitch on the right side needle, and then both stitches, this barb, or yeah, let's say dark color stitch, and this slip one yarn over and bark to the side. Okay, and then I slip again the stitches, or slide the stitches to the other side of the DPN. And now I work the dark color. And there's a mistake here, because what happened is when I turned the side, I actually brought this yarn to the wrong side again, and then I worked with the LC color. Okay, and this is not supposed to happen, because you see when I'm gonna barb here, it's gonna leave a not very nice tail here. Okay, so that's, learn from my mistake please, and keep the yarns tidy and nice. And I'm working the barb, slip one yarn over, and then the last stitch is a barb, and I keep the yarn in the front, in the right side. Okay, and I turn. Okay, I'm working now with LC yarn, keeping the dark color on the back, and I start with a slip one yarn over and barb, slip one yarn over, barb. Okay, until the stitch I would like to wrap, so it's 2 stitches before the other wrapped stitch. The yarn is in the front, and I slip, bring the yarn to the back, and then put these 2 extra stitches back on the holder, and slip the stitches to the other side, or slide, sorry, and then I bark, slip one yarn over, slip one yarn over. Slip one yarn wow, slip one yarn over, and barb, slip one yarn over. Yay, I made it. And that's the last, actually bark, not barb, because we're on the wrong side. Okay, and I keep the yarn on the right side, which is here on the back, and I turn. And then you work as much as you need. Okay, and now I'm gonna show how to resume and pick up the stitches. So I keep this DC yarn in the front, and now I am going to work with LC color. So the first stitches I just do regularly, slip one yarn over, slip one yarn over. Okay, and then I reach to this stitch which is wrapped. Okay, so I go into this wrap, and I bark through it like this. See? And again, slip one yarn over, and again go into this wrap and through it, and I bark through it. Okay, slip one yarn over, and I continue. Okay, I'm working now with the original, with the brioche needles. Okay, and I will work until the beginning of the round, which is here. And I'll meet you when I'm done to show you how to work the DC. So I've reached again the beginning of the round, which is here, and the starting of where the wrapped stitch are. And although there is this need to work these wrapped stitch now, don't, because it's not in your round, okay? It's not the right round to work. Okay, so it depends how many short rows you've made, the gap between the beginning of the round and the DC, and then you just slip those stitches. Okay, now you see this is the wrap, so I'm gonna slip it without the wrap for now, although it's not such a big mistake. Okay, and now I can work with the DC. And I will work again until the beginning of the round, and actually you will see here is the beginning of the round. That means that in the few stitches of the new round, the first few stitches, you will have to again pick up, that's the leftover from the short rows, you will again have to pick up and knit these stitches together with the wraps. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, thanks for joining me. Check out my brioche fixes tutorials if you haven't anymore. Check out my Ravelry store. I'll put links all down in the description. And yeah, hope to see you soon again. You can also follow my adventures on Instagram, Hasargaknit. Yeah. All right, see you. Bye.